Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Sitting here, relaxing, just got through finishing up a playlist. I'm always working on something, and I got a concept in my mind that I want to consider in regards to our Los Angeles Lakers. You know, my mind skips around music, Lakers, deep stuff. Music, Lakers, deep stuff. That's pretty much how it works these days. And the Lakers side of things, I'm considering Darvin Ham. And there's always a different way to look at things, and what I'm not able to shake is the fact that he said that he wants to play Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder in hopes of trying to keep the rest of the team healthy. Now, I heard a paraphrasing of that statement. I probably should have went back and listened to that. It sounded to me that he was offering up an excuse, right? But as I mentioned, I'm always an open-minded person. I felt like Russell Westbrook sounded like he was offering up an excuse in regard to not wanting to, come off the bench based on having to be uncomfortable and not knowing what to do at that time. It sounds to a layman like an excuse, but I've learned that being a layman leaves you in a position to not have context. So with that, I listened and I realized, no, that was true, because he's so used to being able to do something a certain way that repetition over time, especially for an athlete like that, is very important. And if you break that routine, there is no understanding of what to do, and your body will have somewhat of a shock, especially if you're as consistent as he is. So that concept helped me understand that there are ways to not agree with what you're seeing, but understand the concept of what someone's trying to show you still needs to be considered. Whatever it is that they're trying to guard against when doing it, what it is that they do still needs to be considered, even though you don't agree with how they're going about it. And that's essentially what I'm saying. Darvin Ham said that he's playing those two shorter guys because he thinks they can handle certain situations better in terms of keeping guys healthy. Maybe putting them in certain sequences he thinks will put them in a disadvantaged position as it pertains to their health. Now, I think there's some science to that. I don't know that I have any notion of what that would be, but I'd imagine that we've had so many issues as an organization with health that it would stand to reason that we need to try to find some sense of how to keep guys healthy while still getting the most out of our roster. And if we throw every player at every matchup, because of how our team is structured, we probably will wear down some of those players based on how limited we are with our size. If we don't go small ball some of the time, if we don't lean on guys some of the time, throughout the course of an 82 game schedule, we're just going to have some of these players like Austin Reeves and Troy Brown and Wenyen Gabriel just be plucked from the lineup, rolling ankles left and right, trying to guard people that they are forced to guard based on the fact that there's no one else to guard them. So what I'm essentially saying is I'm trying to open my mind to understand that even though I hate what I see in regards to Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder continuing to be sent out there every single night to the detriment of our size, what I'm trying to learn how to do is trust that Darvin Ham may be on to something, even though it's not necessarily turning into success. But at the end of the day, we're still having players plucked from the lineup. So we got to figure something out. But what I don't want to do is dismiss certain things like that as excuses when there may be nuggets of truth within them that might help us. And that's essentially what I'm saying. I think Darvin Ham may want to further elaborate on what it is that he's seeing when he's playing those players, not as it pertains to me trying to point out the fact that he might be not really telling the truth, but more so about what it is that he's actually seeing, so that we can have some understanding of what it is that he might be looking at there, because that's curious to me. Is there something to that? Is there some truth to possibly reserving players in matchups that make sense based on the structure of the schedule and how to keep those players healthy throughout a 7 game series in the 82 game schedule, etc. So yeah, that's the concept in mind. I'm just trying to learn and open my mind as to how best to keep guys healthy throughout a 82 game schedule. So that's where my head is. How do you do that? How do you keep a guy healthy? How do you keep players from finding themselves in situations where you're asking them to do everything you need them to do, and because of it, they only make it to March? They just don't. They're not there. When I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley, he's leaning on these guys repeatedly. But what part of the schedule are we in? Well, we're in December. My thing is, I want to see him run Wenyen Gabriel. I want to see him run Max Christie. I want to see him run these guys. But if their conditioning isn't where it needs to be, and he's throwing these guys at people that they're not ready to guard, if they do have those injuries, we will have wished he pulled back on them, allowed them to work out a little more, allowed them to watch a little more, and then by February, March, and April, they'll be more equipped to take on some of these assignments that I'm so gung-ho and that the layman is so gung-ho about him having those guys match up today. And so it's like, especially since some of these guys are young players, first-year guys, non-draftees, that kind of thing. It's like, yes, their skill sets and their bodies look as if it may be able to do what it is we needed to do. But if they try to go out there against guys who've been in NBA workout gyms for 6 and 7 years, you're going to see the difference between them and our guys. And maybe our guys will be able to do what we need to do in spurts, but eventually they'll run into a rookie wall. I look at a guy like Max Christie, and I'm like, he's doing fantastic rebounding and things of that nature. He's got fresh legs. But since he's so fresh at what he's doing, I can see him running into a rookie wall if we play him the type of minutes we want to play him. The type of minutes I want to play him, get him out there like 18, 19 minutes a game. With this being his first season, a couple of plane rides here and there with a schedule like that without actually being used to it could be something that gets him in some real injury, concerns. And so I see the fruit in just trying to understand that this is a long schedule and that it's the beginning of series of long schedules for these players. If they're going to have 10-year, 11-year careers, they got to look at it as a marathon. And it is best to structure it out real slow and simple and patient and look at those games as just singular games, even though they have such meaningful moments. And that's the balance, to not be so short-sighted while still seeing all that needs to be seen in those short-sighted points of view. So that's why I'm trying to open my mind to say, okay, though I don't like what I'm seeing from Darvin Ham, I want, in regards to playing those particular players, I want to see the result of what it is that he's doing in terms of reserving those other guys pay off. I'd like to think that Max Christie is going to be a much more meaningful player later on because of how slowly we're bringing him along. So that's essentially what I'm hoping to see. I'm always looking at other ways of looking at things. I'm always trying to find a more so deeper way of looking at things, because if I look at it on the surface, I just don't feel like there's much to learn from it. I just feel like one would see it as an excuse. He's just playing those short guys, and he's telling us he's doing it because he's trying to save those. And, he's trying to justify doing so rather than provide us any real information. But I just know better. I know better. You know what I mean? I know better. Professionals don't do things that way. People don't pay people millions of dollars to behave that way. And Darvin Ham hasn't garnered that much respect around the league, doing things that don't make any sense at all to others. So I'm trying to learn to trust what I'm seeing and not be so caught up in the results of what it is, because that doesn't necessarily tell you that something is failing. It's just telling you that it's new. And so that's really what it is. But all in all, I would still like the Lakers to remedy all of that and just get us some size anyway, so we don't have to have that problem at all. He's navigating with what he has, which is why he's doing these things. If you give him better stuff, he ain't got to do all this. So I think that's the bottom line. Lakers organization, I'm obviously knowledgeable enough to know that trades aren't made overnight. I'm knowledgeable enough to know that you have to wait and be patient for certain things. So I just try to keep that GM hat on my head at all times when being patient with this roster and seeing that trades haven't been made yet. But we are past that 16th mark, so I'm hoping that Rob Pelinka is holding his cards and playing them right. At this point in time, if there's something to do, get it done. If not, don't do nothing. The anticipation of our team improving can give us some angst and give us some that feeling that this needs to hurry up and happen. But at the end of the day, hurry up has gotten us into these holes that we're in. Hurry up has put us in positions to why we need to do things, as opposed to just having enough. That's the problem. We always hurry. So let's do it not that way and do it the right way and get what's best for ourselves. And our fan base, including myself, just have to sit in this space and be patient and root for what's down there. And be happy that the fact that doing so thus far has made it so that these guys are better. Now we can trade them for more if we decide to. Um, the Russell Westbrook thing, I still don't know how to feel about that fully, because for all of the different things that make sense in regards to the technical side of this, I still don't know that I trust his basketball decision making when I know I'll need to, and I'm worried he's going to cost me the big game. I'm worried we're going to get all the way to the big moment, and it's going to be his decision making that keeps us from it. And I can't shake that. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations I can't shake that. It's for all the good things that he does. He's going to have to really, really dig in on doing things anew in regards to timing, rhythm, and just overall learning how to cater toward winning. You know, he knows how to do things that can help his team, but I don't think he knows how to slow down when it matters most and make a good decision. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like you wonder if he's going to make a good decision, but chances are he's just going to, do whatever. And that is something that as an organization, you can't rely upon when you have him taking up this much of your cap and being this important of a player. It just cannot come down to, hoping that the game is a blowout so that he can have made sense. Because if it's a close game and he's on the floor, he's going to probably play into the defense's hands. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only way we can really secure wins is if we're blowing teams out, and we're just not good enough to do that. So that's why I'm like, I know people are on board with not trading Russell Westbrook, and there's a lot of reasons not to. But I got one reason there is, and that is it. And we're going to come down to a game 6, whatever big game, and it's going to be him just jacking up bad shots and throwing the ball away and just doing things that he's just going to do. He's prone to do. You know what I mean? And if he wants to be a winner, he's going to have to shake that off, and he's going to have to dig in and find out how to do the things that he hasn't done right for the very first time, I guess. I mean, I don't want to disrespect, but I ain't seen it. I have not seen it. I've seen him do a whole lot that shows me he can't be trusted in these big moments, man. I can get him through 3 quarters. He can get me enough to blow teams out. You know what I'm saying? But I have to sit him when it really matters the most. I cannot have him on the floor with confidence, and that's what it is. So if the Lakers are going to keep him at $47 million on an expiring contract, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say it's the worst thing in the world, but I do see that coming down to a situation where if you didn't sit him, you probably lost the big game. And it's like, wow, you really, really going to allow yourself to go down that path if you actually believe that? I don't know, man. I just can't shake it. I really believe that. I legitimately believe that. He's going to always put up huge stats. So if other guys are doing their part and playing smart around him, he's going to give you a bulk of production that should blow teams out. But, man, if you don't manage him properly, he's going to teeter. He's like a seesaw. It's all up, and then it's going to slide down. If you don't catch him, he's going to slide you down with him. And after seeing that Boston game and seeing these different things over and over again, it's just like, man, he's just like, it's like a machine that destroys stuff. You know what I mean? Like a vacuum. You have to turn it off. If you don't turn it off, it's going to just continue to do what it does. You know what I mean? That's how Russell is. You got to manage him. If not, he's just going to tear up the whole room. And so, that's not going to work, man. And like, my thing is, if it takes 2 picks to get rid of him or picks to get rid of him, at this point, absolutely not. I'm not going to allow someone to fleece me for Russell Westbrook. I'll keep him on my team and we'll manage him. But if I can get him out of here and then bring back pick equity with some salary in his match, that's the way to go. Instead of losing picks for him, you got to bring back some for him. Or maybe get me back Kyle Kuzma's contract, players that we actually want, players that we have on our mind. If you can get us back those contracts, yeah, that's what Russell's for. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I haven't lost sight of that just because he's playing well and we've worked him into this equation. Nah. The problem is his $47 million and the fact that he can twist an ankle and all that value goes to waste. When you could have traded it for Kyle Kuzma and a bunch of stuff that you want, you don't let that value dissipate. You know what I mean? But in that same breath, if it costs to get rid of that value, more so than what it is that would benefit getting $47 million off your cap, which is also an asset to you, then you got to manage that. But my thing is, we're a win-now team, and he has too much of a responsibility for us to not be able to play him down the stretch. And so that's why I move him. It ain't because of anything else. So that's the thing, man. I just want to get rid of certain traits on this team. That's what I've learned. We have a lot of clock management issues. We got a rookie coach. We can't have a floor general that we cannot trust, man. We got Braun and his situations that we'll have to manage. It is too much. It's too much. And then AD and his health. It seems like we're going to ride or die with AD because he might play 30 games a season, but he's going to have those games where he goes 50 and 20. So you're always going to want him on your team because of it. It's a gift and a curse. So the only way to really build around him is to make sure he has what he needs, and most importantly, a team good enough to damn near win the championship when he's not there. That's the only way to build around the dude. And if you ain't building to be absolutely able to just do everything you need to do without him, if you're not building that way around him, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because he's only going to play 40, 35 games a season. And so that's what it is with AD, man. That's why I'm trading him for 8 picks, 7 picks, or whatever, because his value is super high. And I understand it is the dynamic. That's just the dynamic, man. We got a foot injury right now. We don't know how that thing's going to be right now. For all I know, he's out for the season right now with the foot. We don't even know. And that's the point. It's like I can't, in my right mind, find myself building everything around him and LeBron James at 38 years of age. I can't do that. And Russell Westbrook and his decision making. There's no way I'm building that way. Not me. Not this individual. Absolutely not. But since we're doing it, it's really cool. We're watching these guys. We like seeing them, what they're doing. They got strengths. You know what I mean? We got some scrappy guys. It's fun. Even though they're losing games, you can see them getting better. It's fun. But one rolled ankle, one foot break, one shoulder injury, one broken finger, and we're out of here. Like, it's that simple. And so I just feel like, hey, if we can remedy that by trading a few guys and just getting back a fleet of picks and a fleet of young players, yeah, we may not be Superman rich and great, but at least we're not finding ourselves close to not being able to even compete for like 3 and 4 years at a time. Like, that is absolutely not anything to want. So that's what I always preach to you guys. You've heard this 1,000,006 times, but I'm not going to stop preaching it. I'm not going to stop making sense in regards to this. It's just the reality of it. When you see it for what it is, you don't act like you don't. It's bad. You don't build this way. You don't allow yourself to teeter this way. Unless you have some type of plan that I don't see to make it so that you can have a bounce back. And that's the thing. It's like if the Lakers have the game rigged to where they automatically going to get Giannis regardless, then that makes a good sense to why they're acting like this. Like, truth be told, and if the Lakers got the game rigged to where they're going to get Green and freaking LaMelo and Zion at the end of this regardless, which is totally possible given the fact that the league pretty much funnels those players anyway, then maybe we can be gung-ho and do stupid stuff like this. But I would advise the rest of the league to never, ever do this. Just don't. So that's what I got to say, man, in regards to that. And I would tell the Lakers, be careful, because you do have Ballmer in place. If you got it rigged, he got more money than you. He got a lot more money than you. And so that's why you got to do things properly. You can't cut corners. Now, when you got a competitor like that in place, that's what I would tell everybody. Don't slug your shoulders and think everything could be relaxing and all of that. No. Not when Ballmer is in the city. No. I see a world where he owns both the Lakers and the Clippers 20 years from now if we don't do things properly. So we better get together. He'll merge both the teams. He'll be wearing purple and gold and blue and trust me. You don't want to go that route. You don't want that. It would be the Calapers. Anyway, so that's what I got to say, man. That's it. I have nothing else. I'm going to go eat my oatmeal, make some art for this playlist. Just listen to this video and hopefully come up with more concepts, because we need to find some players. Don't forget about players in OKC like Darius Bazley and Wiggins and JRE. I'm of the mindset that that's what's to want. While everybody's looking for everything else, I want stuff like that, man. I'm taking one of them picks and I'm giving it to Houston. I'm taking 3 of those youngsters. I'm taking the other first pick and I'm giving it to OKC, and I'm taking 3 of their youngsters. That's how BDF rolls. And then I'm turning all those players into at least a half a first-round pick, and I'm going to be richer for it. That's how you make moves, man. That's how you get out of this dump. But hey, man, it is what it is. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. Out.